In Part 1, we shared a list of all comic-based Spider-Man games. For Part 2, we'll cover all movie-based Spider-Man games. Let's start from the very first Spider-Man trilogy, where Tobey Maguire took on the role of Spider-Man. The game version was released for Game Boy Advance, PC, PS2, and Xbox in 2002 with the same name as the movie. Compared to the movie, this game focused more on Spider-Man saving people by fighting off street criminals. Graphics look well made for a 2002 game. You can even hear Peter murmuring throughout the game, which is easily noticeable. Still, of course, the game's main boss is Green Goblin, who we all know is the father of Peter's best friend. To me, he's the most terrifying villain among Spider-Man's bosses. Players gave this game fair comments about its difficulty and quality. It seems those players were true fans of old vintage games. In 2004, the second movie-based Spider-Man game was released. Right when the game starts, the infamous villain Dr. Octopus appears, then you dive straight into learning your Spidey skills. After some short training tutorials, you can start trying out those skills in fights. Much like in Spider-Man 1, there were villains in the game who weren't in Spider-Man 2. I see Puma, Rhino, and Mysterio. Still, the main boss for both the movie and this game is Dr. Octopus. Many who've played this gave remarks of how Spider-Man 2 was a nostalgic childhood memory, and it was their first PC game. In 2007, Spider-Man 3 launched after release of the last Spider-Man movie played by Tobey Maguire. This time, the game's platform was in PS3. Like the two previous game titles, you start with a simple tutorial before facing any street criminals. Spider-Man moves around in fluid motion while the graphics look decent. As for the villains, Lizard appears early within the game. However, Lizard appears later on in 2012's The Amazing Spider-Man movie. In Spider-Man 3, Peter's friend Harry becomes Green Goblin. Eventually, due to an evil substance, during a fight between Peter and Harry, Peter gets infected and transforms into a Black Spider-Man. Venom is the main boss in this game, and unlike last year's Venom movie played by Tom Hardy, Venom's host is one of Peter's co-workers. What's intriguing is that not only were there 3 movie-based Spider-Man games, but there's even a game based off the entire trilogy. It's titled Spider-Man Friend or Foe, which was originally announced via a promo on the back of the Spider-Man 3 video game instruction booklet. Honestly, it's great to see all 3 games packed into one game. So far from what I've read, those who played Friend or Foe in their childhood all gave rave reviews. Unlike previous graphics, this game had visuals similar to ones you see on recent mobile games. Moving on to our second base game series, which is from the 2012 release movie, The Amazing Spider-Man. There's even Gwen Stacy and extra villains included in this game version. You get to fight against Lizard, Rhino, Carnage, Scorpion, Vermin, and Alistair Smith. All in all, satisfactory comments were made for the game on the storyline and the whole game experience being quite enjoyable. In 2014, a second game gets released based off the sequel movie, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Unfortunately, reviews weren't that great this time around. Some noticed and commented how not much progress was made since the first Amazing Spider-Man game. Clearly, graphics, storyline, and overall features didn't meet players' expectations, since criticism would only get harsher after players would still compare it with 2018 Spider-Man game. After the Amazing Spider-Man 2 game, a VR game for PS4 was released in 2017, which was based on the movie Spider-Man Homecoming. This watches to have a slight feel of the game's VR experience. It really resembles the movie scene when the AI system turns on in Spider-Man's suit. Lastly, we can't leave out the latest Spider-Man game that was released last year. You can barely find any negative comments for this one. Most commented on this game being one of the best superhero games ever produced. Just by the trailer, you can feel that the game's whole experience will take you on an epic ride. It stands out from the rest as it's not based off of any existing Spider-Man comic, movie, or game. A whole new Spider-Man storyline made this game that much more appealing. Known villains and characters all appeared, yet the storyline is set when Peter has been Spider-Man already for 8 years. But Peter is in society no longer in any schooling. I definitely agree on how nicely made this game is. Even to say 330 million sold in 3 days isn't too surprising. We've shared today about all movie-based Spider-Man games released since 2002. Have you played any of them? Which one's your favorite? Feel free to share with us your thoughts in the comment section below. We salute you, Stan Lee, for Spider-Man. Till next time.